My name is Henry Wallace. I'm 76 years old. I spent 38 years in a maximum security prison for killing a man with my bare hands over a spilt drink and a dirty look. I was 24. I'm out now, but I'm still not free. Let me tell you what happened. It started on a Friday in July 1987. The foundry laid off a third of us. The foreman handed me my slip. No severance, just a "Sorry, Henry." I walked out, my hands still calloused from work that was now gone. My wife, Carol, was pregnant with our second. I was the man of the house, and I'd just failed. You see, I didn't go home. I couldn't face her. I went to a bar on the south side, carrying that shame like a stone in my gut. The bar was called The Anchor, dark, loud. I ordered a beer I couldn't afford and tried to drown the fear. I felt small, like the world had already decided I was nothing. I was nursing that bitterness when I felt a hard shove from behind. My beer sloshed all over my shirt and the bar. I turned around. He was my age, dressed sharp. He looked at his friend, laughed, and then looked back at me. No excuse me, nothing, just a look. It was a dismissal. It said I was invisible, or worse, an inconvenience. The heat shot up my neck. My fists clenched on the sticky wood. All the shame from the foundry gate fused with this new insult. I watched him walk toward the back door. That laugh echoed in my head. I stood up. I followed him. The alley air was hot, thick with garbage smell. I called out, "Hey!" He turned, that smirk still plastered on his face. The street light made him look like a ghost. I demanded an apology. He just squared his shoulders. He took a step closer. Then he said the words that lit the fuse. He looked me up and down, my stained work clothes, and he sneered. "What are you gonna do about it, foundry trash?" Trash. That word. It was the foreman's pity. It was every bill I couldn't pay. It was the fear in Carol's eyes I was avoiding. It wasn't him talking. It was my whole life talking. I didn't think. My body moved. The first punch landed. It was a frenzy, a red haze. He went down. I was on top of him. My hands were pistons. I felt bones give. Then, in a split second, I saw his face. The smirk was gone. The anger was gone. It was just fear. Pure animal fear. Then it was nothing. Blank. Empty. But I was still hitting him. I was hitting a dead man. The sound of my own grunts was the only thing I heard. Until I heard the sirens. They cuffed me right there in the alley, kneeling next to him. I looked at my hands. They were slick, dark. They weren't my hands anymore. That night, in a cold cell, the taste of the beer was gone. All I could taste was metal, blood, and guilt. I knew my life was over. I just didn't know how long the sentence would be. They gave me 40 years. aggravated assault. The man's name was Michael. I learned that at the trial. For 38 years, I watched life pass through bars. Carol came at first. Her face grew harder, sadder each visit. Then the letters slowed. My kids grew up in photos. My 3 brothers, well, they had their own lives. The world moved on. I stayed in that alley, in that moment, every single day. I got out 2 years ago, an old man. The world was new and strange and quiet, but I wasn't free. And then yesterday, a letter came from my daughter, the first in over a year. Inside was a picture of my grandson, a boy I've never met. He's 17. He has my eyes. And in those eyes I saw a fire I know all too well. That look, that anger, it's why I'm talking to you now. I understand now. Michael in the bar wasn't my enemy. He was just a guy having a night out. My enemy was the rage I'd been carrying since I was a boy. The feeling of being small, disrespected, powerless. I gave that rage a target, and it consumed 2 families, his and mine. That's the poison. You think the anger is yours to use. It's not. It uses you. So here's my advice, from a man who paid with 38 years. When you feel that heat rise, when your face gets hot and your fists clench, you walk away. You go home. You call your brother. You punch a wall, scream into a pillow. You do anything but point that fire at another person. You can't take it back. The law gives you a sentence. Your conscience gives you a life term. You have a choice I didn't think I had. You have time I believed was gone. Your life is in front of you. Don't let one stupid minute, one wrong word, one dirty look burn it all down. Don't end up like me, an old man in a quiet room, talking to a camera, trying to put out a fire that's been ashes for decades. You see, the fire doesn't just burn the other person. It burns you from the inside out. Let me tell you about the burning. That first night in the cell, after the metallic taste, I thought about Carol. I had to call her. They let me use a phone. Her voice was sleepy, confused. "Henry, what's wrong?" I told her I was at the police station, that there'd been a fight. I didn't say the rest. I couldn't. She was quiet for a long time. Then she said, "I'll come down." Just like that, no yelling. That was worse. Her disappointment was a cold water I already knew I deserved. She came. She looked small in the visiting room, her hands on her belly. Our second child was in there. She asked me what happened. I told her, the beer, the look, the alley, the word. I told her I'd killed a man. Her face, it didn't crumple. It just went still, like a pond freezing over. She said, "His mother, Henry. He has a mother." That's what she said. Not, "What about me?" Not, "What about us?" She thought of his mother. That was Carol. That's who I lost. The trial was fast, a blur of suits and words. Aggravated assault, 40 years. The judge said I showed a callous disregard for human life. He was right. I did. In that moment, Michael's life wasn't human to me. It was a target for all my sickness. They led me out. I looked back once. Carol was in the back row. She wasn't crying. She was just staring at the floor. That was the last time I saw her in person. You see, the sentence starts in the courtroom, but the real time, that gets served in pieces. Visits. That's how you measure it. The first year she came every month. She'd bring pictures of our daughter, Lisa. Tell me about the baby, a boy they named David. She'd talk about bills, about her brother helping out. Her voice got quieter each time. The distance wasn't just miles, it was in her eyes. They stopped looking at me and started looking through me to the man I was before the alley. That man was gone. Then the visits became every other month, then every 6. A letter came instead. Lisa started walking. David has your smile. It's hard. The last time she came, she didn't bring the kids. She said it was too confusing for them. She was thinner, tired. She said, "Henry, I can't do this anymore. The kids need normal." I just nodded. What could I say? She was right. I was a ghost in their lives, a scary story. She stood up to leave. She didn't touch the glass. She just said, "I'm sorry," and she walked away. I watched her go. That was 1994, 7 years in, 33 to go. The letters from her stopped. My brothers, Pete, Joe, and Ray, they wrote at first, Christmas cards, then just Pete. Joe got a job in Texas. Ray had his own family. Life moves on. It has to. You sit in that cell and you watch your own life become a story other people stop telling. You want a specific moment? Here's one. 2001. Lisa was 14. She sent a drawing, a school project. It was a house with a tree, a family in front of it, a man, a woman, 2 kids. But the man was drawn in pencil, faint, like a shadow. Underneath she wrote, "My family." I was the pencil shadow. I held that paper and I cried. Not loud, just this silent shaking. Because I saw it. I was a ghost to my own daughter, a smudge on the page of her life. That's when I knew the fire hadn't just taken my freedom, it had erased me. You spend decades thinking about 1 minute. You pick it apart. The bump, the beer, the word. If I'd turned back to the bar, if I'd taken a breath, if I'd just walked out the front door. But you can't. You're stuck in it. Every day you wake up in that alley. You feel the heat. You hear the word. You see his eyes go blank, over and over. That's your life sentence, the one your conscience gives you. The walls are just there to remind you. I got out 2 years ago. an old man. The south side was different. The foundry's been closed for 20 years. My old house, someone else lives there. Pete was the only one left nearby. He helped me get this room. We have coffee sometimes. It's quiet. We don't talk about it. What is there to say? He's got grandkids. I get photos sometimes. And then yesterday, the letter from Lisa, the photo of her boy, my grandson. And in his eyes, that's the fire. That young, stupid, burning fire that thinks it's strength, that thinks the world owes it something, that's ready to blow over nothing. I looked at that picture and I was back in the anchor. I was 24. I was scared. I was angry. And I had a choice. I chose wrong. So I am telling you, that fire lies to you. It tells you you are standing up for yourself. It tells you they deserve it. It tells you this will make you feel big. It's a liar. It makes you small. It makes you nothing. It makes you a pencil shadow on your own life. It makes you a ghost in your own life. And you know what haunts a ghost? Not the past, the present, the empty space where your life should be. I got that photo yesterday. I sat in this chair, in this quiet room, and I stared at that boy's face, my face. And I thought about the last time I saw my son David, not in a photo, in person. It was 2010. He was 23. He came to the prison. He didn't have to. He came. He sat across from me in the visiting room. A man, handsome, quiet. He had Carol's eyes. We made small talk. The weather, his job. It was stiff, awkward. Then he got quiet. He looked down at his hands, my hands, and he said, "I need to ask you something." I said, "Okay." He didn't look up. "Did you ever think about us? When you did it, did you think about Mom? About me and Lisa? Even for a second?" The room got very small. The noise of other families faded away. It was just me and my boy, and the question I'd ask myself every day for 23 years. I told him the truth. "No, David, I didn't." In that moment, there was nothing. No thought. Just the fire. Just the rage. It blotted out everything. You, your mom, your sister, you weren't there. That's the worst part. You weren't even there to stop me. He nodded, just a slow nod, like he'd expected that answer. He finally looked at me. His eyes were dry, tired. "That's what I thought," he said. "That's what Mom always said. She said you just left. That night you walked out of the house and you never really came back." He stood up. He put his hand on the glass for a second, then pulled it away. "I just needed to hear you say it," he said. "Thanks for telling me the truth." And he left. He walked out of that visiting room and out of my life. That was the last time. No more letters from him. Just the occasional photo from Lisa with a few lines about how he's doing. He's a mechanic. He's got a family. is living the life I was supposed to live, and he did it without me. That visit broke me, more than the sentencing, more than Carol leaving, because I saw it in his eyes. He wasn't angry, he was just done. I was a fact of his life, a bad thing that happened, not a father, a historical event. And he'd come to get the last piece of information he needed to close the file. You see, that's the real sentence. It's not the time, it's the erasure. You become a problem people have to manage, a sad story they tell sometimes. My dad's in prison. My husband died that night in the alley. You're not a person anymore. You're a consequence. I think about Maiken's mother. Carol was right to think of her. I never met her. She was in the courtroom, but I couldn't look at her. What would I see? I saw her once, in a flash, as they led me out. An older woman, her face shattered. I did that with my hands. I took her son. For what? A spilled beer? A dirty look? A word? That word, trash. He called me trash, and I proved him right. I acted like an animal. I became less than nothing. I made myself trash. The fire makes you believe you're fighting for your dignity, but it strips you of everything that makes you human. Your compassion, your reason, your love. It leaves you hollow, a shell that hits and hits and hits long after the fight is over. I live in that shell now. 2 years out, and I'm still getting used to the quiet. No gates slamming, no counts, just the hum of the refrigerator, the tick of a clock. Sometimes the silence is so loud it hurts, because in the silence, that's when you hear it. The echo of that 1 minute, the laugh, the word, the sound my fist made. I look at my grandson's picture. He's 17, the age I was when I started at the foundry. All muscle and pride, and that low burn of knowing the world doesn't care about you. I want to tell him, I want to say, I see that fire in you. I know it feels like your only weapon, but it's a trap. It will burn the bridge you're standing on. But I can't. He doesn't know me. I'm a pencil shadow to him too, a faint story his mom might tell. So I'm telling you, because maybe you're 17, or 24, or 30, and you're carrying that same heat in your chest. You think it's power. It's not. It's a thief. It stole everything from me. It left me with this quiet room, this photograph, and these hands. These hands. They look old now, spotted, shaky. But sometimes, in the right light, I still see it. The dark stain. I still feel the give of bone. I still see his eyes go blank. I will die seeing that. That's my life sentence, the one I carry in here. That's what the fire leaves you. One terrible minute, playing on a loop forever. That's what the fire leaves you. One terrible minute, playing on a loop forever. Here's what I learned sitting in that cell for 38 years and sitting in this room for 2. I learned that anger isn't a reaction, it's an accumulation. It's every slight you never let go, every fear you never faced, every time you felt small and decided it was someone else's fault. I carried it all, from the schoolyard to the foundry floor. I carried it like a bucket of gasoline, and that night in the Anchor, Michael just happened to be the match. It could have been anyone. It could have been a traffic light, a flat tire, a bill collector. I was looking for a reason to burn. I was wrong. I thought that fire was my right, my compensation for a world that didn't give me what I thought I deserved. But it wasn't a right. It was a trap, and I walked right into it. I traded my wife's smile, my children's laughter, the weight of a sleeping baby on my chest, for the feeling of my knuckles connecting with a stranger's face. I traded a life for a moment, and I got the bad end of the deal. So here is my direct advice to you, especially if you're young and you feel that heat in your chest right now. When you feel it, that flush, that clench, that voice that says, make them pay, you have to do the one thing that feels impossible. You have to walk away. Not because you're weak, because you're strong enough to know the cost. You go home. You call your brother. I had 3 brothers, Pete, Joe, and Ray. I could have called any of them that night. I didn't. I thought I had to handle it myself. That was pride. That was poison. Call your brother. Call your friend. Tell them, I'm so angry I could break something. Let the words be the release, not your fists. If you're alone, you punch a wall. You scream into a pillow until your throat is raw. You break something that can be replaced. You do not point that fire at another person. You cannot take it back. You think you can, but you can't. The law gives you a number, 40 years, 20 years, 10 years. But your conscience, it gives you a life term. It gives you a quiet room and a photograph and hands that never feel clean. You still have time. I didn't think I did. At 24, with a pink slip in my pocket and a baby on the way, I felt like my time was up. I felt cornered. So I fought my way out, and I ended up in the smallest corner imaginable. Your life is in front of you. It is. Even if it doesn't feel like it. Don't let one stupid minute, one wrong word, one person who doesn't matter burn it all down. Your future self is begging you. The old man you'll become is sitting in a room somewhere, hoping you'll make the choice he didn't. This channel, from what they tell me, is for stories like mine. Hard lessons learned too late. If what I've said tonight means something to you, if you see that fire in yourself or in someone you love, then do a few things for me. First, hit that subscribe button. Turn on notifications. There are other people here who've lived different lives, made different mistakes, and they might have the piece of wisdom you need next week. Leave me a comment down below. Tell me, where do you feel that heat rising? Is it at work? At home? Just walking down the street? Saying it out loud, even typing it, takes away some of its power. Hit the like button if this resonated. If you think it could help someone, share it. Send it to that friend who's always ready to fight, or to that kid who just seems angry at the world. You might not reach my grandson, but you might reach theirs. And if you've got a story of your own, something you learned the hard way that could keep someone else from the same pain, there's a form in the description. Tell them. Maybe your story will be the one that saves a life. They gave me a book inside near the end. Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. A man who survived hell and wrote about finding purpose anyway. I don't pretend to understand what he went through, but one line stuck with me. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. I had no space in that alley. My anger filled it all. Your space is your freedom. Protect it. Don't end up like me. An old man talking to a camera, trying to shout back through 38 years to a kid in a bar who wouldn't listen. Be smarter than I was. Be stronger. Walk away. Your life is waiting for you on the other side of that door. Just walk away.